Can we talk about Resident Evil real quick? I'm really disappointed by this. Let's talk about Resident Evil.
That's good. Yep.
As we've seen in the last few years, a lot of video games have been around for a very long time, and we're seeing a lot of anniversaries. Right now is the 30th anniversary of Super Mario. Out of that, we're getting Super Mario Maker. Awesome, incredible, delightful way to sort of celebrate. Nintendo's been less good with a lot of that stuff, like Metroid. They kind of dropped the ball on. Zelda, they were pretty good with. Resident Evil
dropped the morph ball.
They dropped the morph ball.
Oh yeah,
Resident Evil is up there with some of my favorite video game memories of all time. It's one of the greatest video game franchises ever. I realize that it's been completely hit or miss the last few years. Although, leading up to this day and age, we've gotten the HD remake of Resident Evil Remake, which is probably the best Resident Evil game.
And 2 coming.
We got the remake of Resident Evil 2 coming, which is something we never thought would happen. We even got a remake of Resident Evil 0, which is like a pretty damn good Resident Evil game, right? And sort of on the tail end of the tank-controlled ones. So having to see this big 20th anniversary Resident Evil thing, I was really, really hoping for the best. I know that Resident Evil 6 was completely off the rails. It was a wreck. 5 did not grab me. 4 is one of my favorite video games, probably my top 5 video games ever made. They announced last night that a new Resident Evil game is coming, and it's basically focusing on the least favorite part of the Resident Evil series, which is the nameless idiots that run around in Umbrella Corp costumes with shotguns and guns and shoot zombies.
It reminded me of, like, right after Arkham City came out, there was like a Batman shooter game that came out on XBLA. Gotham City Imposters. That's what this game reminds me of.
Well, there was also Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah, isn't this the same thing? Like, it was just competitive?
Yeah, it was like a Call of Duty first person, and you would run around and pick up like herbs that you would shoot into yourself. I'm reloading.
And it was like third person. It was very
this has worked.
Audrey reviewed that game.
And this has worked another bit. Dead Space Extraction for the Wii was fun. The rail shooter, that was actually really well done.
And
that was
Capcom's done rail shooters before.
Right.
You know, like it worked out to variable degrees of success. I actually like some of the rail shooters they've done.
Yeah.
This, to me, I mean, had you dropped this last year, I'd be like, this is a weird diversion. But to drop this as part of the anniversary or like the big sort of, like it's sort of like celebrating your anniversary with your wife by eating poop soup, burning down your apartment.
You're gonna get so much poop soup mailed to you now.
It's good. It's good. It's illegal to mail poop soup, so you take that. You take that up with the people over
saying that word.
So this is a huge bummer for me, man. Like as a Resident Evil fan, this is exactly what I don't want. Like, and just as I thought they're sort of getting it. Like if you look at what Capcom just did with Mega Man, like that the
Legacy Collection,
which is awesome. It's on like pretty much every platform. There's like tons of like art stuff in there and old character sketches. For
we give it a 9. I mean, I was privileged to review that. That game was superbly
They're also
done.
doing really cool stuff with their merchandising. Like they're going all out with Mega Man stuff right now.
Yeah, but it's still
really cool to see.
Bigger Capcom problem of like everything Capcom right now is remakes, and I mean, like, Street Fighter V looks cool, and I'm sure it'll be good, but it's still another sequel. Like, there's nothing new coming out of Capcom. It doesn't feel like. I would love to see a really, like, when Capcom came on stage and said they had a new game, I got really excited, and then it was a Resident Evil game, and then it was a disappointing Resident Evil game, and it just like, I would love to see something out of Capcom that's cool and new and different right now. Like, Deep Down was announced 3 years ago at the PS4 reveal event. We've heard literally like that game is
3 years ago.
Anthony Gallegos wrote that artitle.
Wow.
Like 2 jobs ago.
Yeah, and
like
he's
that's
a
how long ago that
grandfather now.
was. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he runs a whole village.
They've all got wives of their own.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me though. Like I want to see Capcom do something interesting, whether that's with Resident Evil or in general. Like, where's RE7? Like, let's at least see something.
These are like the guys that invented not really invented, but sort of like kind of at the time perfected the mainstream zombie video game genre, right? And now it's been done to death. Everyone's done different things. We saw Zombie get ported this year. There was, there's been I lost track of how many zombie games there are, but there's like they're fast running ones. There's the parkour one, Dying Light. I mean, there's so many different ways to sort of interpret that, and to see Capcom, the guys who pretty much like created that for what it is. And not only walk away from it with like 5 or 6 Resident Evil games in a row that just became sort of like action games, including like the back half of RE4, which a lot of people forget, but to completely just drop that now and just lose all the tension that comes with the zombie genre.
Well, even the Dead Rising game
I feel like they don't understand the appeal of their own properties. And maybe they've got some focus group or some spreadsheet somewhere that says what sells and what doesn't, and they're like, let's play to that as opposed to just kind of
Well,
drowning it out and
the,
being like,
the
let's
action
take
games sell better than the non-action games. So that's the message they're hearing.
Isn't RE5 the best-selling one
it is,
still?
yeah.
And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's the one that like had, it was basically open battlefield areas with character swapping and machine guns and stuff like that.
That felt like kind of the beginning of the precipitous decline.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And
RE5 was a
yeah.
vast step down.
Like
from
the first half of 4 is still some of the most tense. Like it wasn't really like jump scare as much, but there was that sort of impending fear of being like, I'm in this small town with a guy with a chainsaw and like these psycho.
Oh no, it was a perfect combination of you were just capable enough to feel more powerful than you ever had, and it was still just tense enough through most of that game to feel like you were constantly in danger.
And I feel like
tension.
Making these like third-person shooters and first-person like sort of multiplayer, like arena-based, like they're completely missing the point. They're completely missing the tension. Like it's just taking the brand name and putting on something. Like this is the Metroid Prime Federation Force of Resident Evil.
Look at something like, I mean, we've got lots of shooters and we've got lots of horror games. Horror games are doing pretty well right now. Alien Isolation, for instance, like that. Did that do okay, or was that kind of a?
I did pretty well. It did pretty well.
So, I mean, surprisingly, considering it's a tense, like a, and it's a recognized property.
Yep.
And Resident Evil kind of like it at its core, it's. You have guns and there's scary stuff, and maybe it's trying to balance that as too tricky in kind of the modern landscape.
It's interesting seeing.
I was going to say
like you have to strip people's powers away, but
you're totally right about not only the genre stuff, but like or zombie stuff, but the horror genre movement in video games right now, especially with like Let's Plays and YouTubes. And
what's
Twitch
happening with
streams.
Until Dawn right now?
It's huge.
And like
it's
when
huge.
PT was big, but it's interesting that even Mikami moved on and made like Evil Within. Like I mean, like that's like the spirit of Resident Evil has kind of been pulled out of it, and it has become this.
And Evil
kind
Within
of
sort
genre.
of felt like Resident Evil 4.5 with a lot of the psychological stuff that almost made it into Resident Evil 4.
But it ought to be possible to distill the essence of what made the early games good and then recontextualize that for where technology and tastes are right now and create something wonderful. Horror is timeless when done well. Good horror is hard to do. I mean, horror movies are generally bad, even though I love them. There's very few really good ones. But you can do it, and Capcom has the resources to pull it off.
And there's things like Five Nights at Freddy and all these random
Fear
things
the
that
Walking
pop
Dead
up.
premiered a month ago. It was the biggest television premiere in history, and that show is unobjectively bad. It is not a good show.
Whereupon you look at something like Penny Dreadful, and somebody's doing it right now. That is a solid. Have you watched that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that is a solid TV horror.
I watched like 3/4 of the first season.
Oh, it's the second season. I think is better. It's really good.
Yeah,
or
it's
The
a really
Strain, which is again not a great show.
Yeah.
But
I also just
popular.
want to interject and plug. Brian did an interview with Taron Killam from SNL at PAX.
Oh, that's right.
Where they just talked about Resident Evil memories for like 5 minutes. And it's really weird.
It's really weird to walk up to like a guy you look up to like in comedy and then be like, "Hey, remember those weird white gorillas in the basement of Resident Evil 0?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally." I'm like, "Let's talk about that."